All right, hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Trader Chris here at Trader Chris _ on Instagram, and this is just an outlook on pound USD going into next week. Today is Saturday, the 11th of June 2022, and I would like to plan my trade leading up to next week. And bear in mind that next week, Wednesday, there is the FOMC decision and the interest rates decision for the USD, which really has been driving the price action for pound USD lately. So basically, I'll start from the weekly time frame, and the two zones I'm looking at in the weekly time frame is this weekly resistance and this weekly support, which basically means that we are currently in a range on the weekly time frame, and the total range is 358.2 pips roughly. Currently, we are approaching the bottom of the range, which is also the support level on the weekly time frame, meaning there's still some downside, at least for next week, to test the bottom of the range. So yeah, based on the weekly time frame, I see price currently within this range, such that if the most recent pressure still remains the market, which is bearish, pull back on the next weekly time frame to target these low marks and see if we get continuation below. However, be careful. I'll be careful that we are approaching to the weekly support already. So yeah, sales make sense, but one has to watch carefully this weekly support level. On the daily time frame, you can now I will now try to mark out zones or levels where we could expect some sort of pullback to still get continuation. Really, what I would personally like to see is this weekly support break. Look for some sort of pullback and get continuation. And below this level, really on the monthly time frame, it's just weeks that we have where the all-time low on pound USD, I think, is at this price. That's 1.14116. So yeah, on the daily time frame, what I would personally like to see is a lower lows being created before taking sells, but there is still some sort of range to the downside on the open of next week or probably during the week to test this support and to trade into this zone. Trading into this zone, I would be very, very careful selling at these prices because we know it's a weekly support level, and this is basically the last monthly support we have on the monthly time frame. So in any case, I would prefer some sort of pullback in this case to sell. And the pullback levels I'll be looking at is this breakout area on the monthly. On the daily time frame pattern. So we have this previous support level, which is the daily support, and some sort of retest to this level could be anticipated, such that within the week, we could still pull back this deep on the daily time frame and still remain bearish before seeing some sort of continuation. Then also there is this tiny daily support around this level, just right here. So those two levels would mark the pullback points for me, so that we could just retest slightly this and continue down. If we pull back this deep, I would like to see some sort of change of structure to the downside from this area before continuing down. But if the pullback is just a slight pullback to this point, breaking this low, for instance, would give some sort of continuation to the downside. And the range we have at this point is we still have 76 pips range below this daily support. So it's still a tradable range in my opinion. If you look at this on the 4-hour time frame, you see how nicely the levels also align with this 4-hour support and this 4-hour support. So yeah, basically what I've been saying since the beginning of the video is if I can get some sort of pullback to this point, I'll be looking for some lower time frame resistances to sell. If the pullback is this deep, then I'll prefer some sort of change of structure to the downside, not breaking highs and breaking support to then continue the overall downside on on the weekly time frame. However, I would also be careful within this zone. See this price action we had previously, where price created support, found resistance, and failed to continue lower and began to hold higher support above resistances. If we get the same price action as well from this area, in fact, if we get the same price action from this area, where we basically fail to break lower, for instance, if we respect this low and get the price action we have here, so that we have something like this, get some sort of pullback, we try to retest the low and fail to close below the support and start breaking above, then any support above this level, we could trade the pullback to this point before some sort of change of structure to the downside if that happens. And if this happens to be the beginning of the upside from here again, then you could potentially hold longer if we close above this level. But if we respect this level on the daily time frame and begin to hold resistances below, then I would be looking for short. So what I'm saying in essence is, if I see this kind of price action on the 4-hour time frame repeat itself here, I don't mind also trading the pullback as long as the structure remains bullish. Then if we begin to change structure down from here, then I'll be looking for further sales at that point. So in summary, and to keep the video as short as possible, so that we get some pullback to this point to sell, get some pullback to this point to also look for sales. Within this pullback, you could also look for buys if the structure remains bullish up to this point before you can take further sales with change of structure from this area. If in any case we find ourselves trapped above this level, then whatever buys you have from here, whatever buys I have from here, basically could then potentially be a swing trade that would be, we'll need some sort of change on the fundamentals, saying possibly the Fed, for instance, tone down on their interest rate hike cycle and basically do a pause and not actually increase the rate by next week or Wednesday, interest rate, I mean. So those are the three things I would be paying attention to this week. Trade safe, trade sharp, and stay blessed.